Sneakers and Cleats, the podcast. Welcome back to the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. It is Friday, October 13th. This is episode 36 of the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. We're joined once again by Rocky Garza. It's been a couple of months. You are back. You are better than ever.
Of course.
I assume.
Kinda. I mean, I was pretty sad about that UT loss to OU. I'm sure Zach was happy.
Yeah, it was kind of a bad weekend for you overall with the Cowboys Sunday night. And...
Yeah, I think the UT loss hurt more.
Did it?
I mean, because I was in Colorado at the time, and I was watching it at a pub, and just sitting there among random UT fans, I knew it was going to happen. I even told them after they hit a field goal, I said, UT's going to mess up. And, of course, it happened.
I went to McIntyre's down here in San Antonio I was there with Joe DiCarlo and his wife, or his soon-to-be wife, actually. I think they get married tomorrow. And then Jordan and I and Jordan's parents. And so Joe is obviously a Sooners fan. And nobody in there was a Sooners fan.
Oh, my God.
It was just Joe yelling, "Boomer!"
Jeez Louise.
I thought we were going to get jumped. It was so bad, especially when they won. I was like, oh, God, I got to get out of here, Joe. Sorry.
Yeah, he's lucky y'all got there out of safe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Luckily, everyone, I think, was too mad to be drunk. So I think we got out of there a little safer than we expected. But anyway, this is number 36. So we start off, obviously, with checking out who the number episode reminds us of. 36 isn't a great number. Mm-hmm. However, I am remiss that when we went over 34, I didn't mention Big Papi because I'm an idiot. However, 36, not a great number, but the only person that comes to mind for me is one of the best pitchers of all time is Gaylord Perry. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I would say he owns the number, but you know, that's the best 36 I could think of.
I'm honestly blanking out on 36. I mean, it's funny because I actually know that name, but I never knew he was 36. I just always knew that name because my uncle was a big baseball fan and he would talk about him, but I never knew he was 36, so yeah. I'm kind of blank.
For most of his career, I think it was like 20 seasons of his career, he was, Gaylord Perry, a Hall of Famer, 2-time Cy Young, 5-time All-Star, 90 all-time WAR, wins above replacement. It's pretty damn good, but honestly, 36 is a tough number. I can't really think of a lot of great 36s.
Random number, honestly.
Yeah, one of the least entertaining times we've done this is 36. Not a great one. Shaq was also 36 with the Celtics, but it's not like it's his 19th and final year of his career.
That was a tough year.
It's not like you think about him when you think of 36. I do because I like Shaq, but
Yeah.
But anyway, a little bit of a lighter show. We got the Cowboys playing on Monday, so we're gonna save that for Monday with me, Don, and Chuck. Longhorns off this week at licking their wounds, kind of, after the loss to OU. But still got UTSA tomorrow. Still got the Lone Star series that starts on Sunday for the ALCS. And, of course, we have Wemby, who is going to take over the Frost Bank Center tonight for the first time in a preseason game, in any game, besides the silver and black scrimmage last week. I've just been kind of amazed, as everyone has, and awestruck. It's like it's kind of getting to the LeBron level though, of like if Wemby ties his shoes, it's gonna lead Sports Center, or it's gonna lead our shows. And so, like, I'm excited to see him tonight, but it's like, guys, you gotta relax.
No, yeah, I mean, because all this hype is gonna put unrealistic expectations on him. I mean, I know we're gonna kind of talk about that more, as we go, but. You're right. This guy sneezed, when he had the best sneeze of his life. It's just like, all right, guys, let's just relax.
Can you believe how he sneezed? It was so revolutionary.
I've never seen a 7'5" guy sneeze like that.
I've never seen a 7'5" guy sneeze, actually, but that's besides the point. What do you think we're going to see tonight? I mean, obviously, in the first game, we saw 20 points. It was 18, I think, in the first half. 20 points in 19 minutes. He had a couple of just amazing highlights, one of which was like him using his full 9-foot wingspan and length to get the ball out and get the steal, and then the dunk on the other side, the up and under J move that he had on Chet Holmgren to avoid that block. I mean, he is amazing. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Wemby's greatness or how good he is or how amazing he already is as a defender and turning that defense into offense, or the athleticism of a 7'4", however tall he is, person. But it's just like, we got to see more.
Yeah, no, I think, compared to the first game, you saw him just go balls to the walls. He was going at Chet Holmgren, the whole OKC defense itself. But I can imagine this game he's going to be more of a facilitator because I believe, correct me if I'm mistaken, Shohan and Keldon should be back. So you're going to get a first look of how he's going to mesh in with it. I know it's a preseason game, playing the Heat, so you'll probably see the star players out there for a little bit, but it's going to be seeing him. It's going to be interesting seeing how Miami defends him. He's going against Bam Adebayo, who's a pretty solid defender itself. But I mean, I can see him more as a facilitator tonight, kind of getting his team's open looks. He imagines he's going to get double teamed a lot. So as long as the team's hitting shots, I mean, it would be a preview of the feature.
I'll be interested to see how they defend him because Bam is one of those long, lengthy, athletic defenders, and that's kind of the guy that everyone says might need to defend Wemby. But I mean, even Bam is 6'10", 6'11" on a good day, so he's still giving up a few inches, but he's stronger than Wemby is. He is extremely athletic. He's great around the rim, blocking shots. So, and he usually last year, at least during the Heat's postseason run, he was the guy that would go out and defend anyone from 6'6" above. He would defend Jason Tatum on occasion. He went and defended Horford and Brook Lopez. He defended all the guys that needed to be defended. So I'm going to be curious to see how kind of someone athletic like Bam takes over and kind of takes on Wemby.
Yeah, and in a sense, for me, I'm predicting it's not going to be really like a super humbling experience for Wemby, but it's going to be kind of a humbling. He's going against a guy who's, very talented. Not to take away from any of the guys in the NBA. Obviously, if you're in the NBA, you're talented, but going against an elite defender like Bam, it's going to be really interesting seeing Victor go against him. I mean, he went against Chet, who's arguably on his way to becoming, elite defender who's just as tall as him. But Bam's stronger, bigger. Shorter than him, but Bam's more experienced than what Chet is.
Yeah, I mean, plus he's playing against that Heat culture. I know we all get sick of that term, especially last year during the playoffs. We got sick of the Heat culture term because they just kept winning. But as a Heat fan, I'm not mad about it. But they're going to be playing. He's going to be playing one of those teams that was a finals appearance last year. I think it's finals appearances in 2 out of the last 3 years. Conference finals appearances in 3 of the last 4. I mean, one of those constant winners. And even being in the presence of Jimmy and Bam and Coach Spo and all those guys, it's like you're going to start getting some skins on the wall, as Chuck would like to say. So. Yeah,
no, of course, and I'm sure Coach Spo has done his homework plenty on Wemby. Everyone's seen Wemby. You see Wemby on SportsCenter every dang second, like we had talked about earlier. But it's going to be a real fun game tonight.
It is, and it's a preseason game, so like I'm not investing too heavily in it. One thing I am, going to be really looking forward to is seeing who starts and who comes off the bench, because with Keldon back, with Jeremy back, you kind of have your full cabinet of weapons there. And so I'll be kind of curious to see how much Wemby brings the ball up. Is he going to, act in that Trey Jones role? Are they going to have Trey starting? Are they going to have Jeremy at the 5? Are they going to play Jeremy at the 5 at all? And Wemby maybe moving to the 3? How often are Wemby and Zach Collins going to play on the floor together with Jeremy? So because there's been a lot of rumors that Jeremy's going to be the bench guy. He's going to be the guy that gets that second unit ready to roll, because a lot of times last year he played that point forward, or he was the energy guy. And so it'll be interesting to see kind of the roles that are designated tonight.
No, yeah, and you hit the head on the nail. I mean, I believe Coach Papa kind of hinted that you're going to see a lot of lineups. How he mentions, like, the Jokic's, the Nuggets and Jokic. They don't have a true really point guard. I understand Jamal's a point guard, but I mean, Jokic is taking the ball up, like you said. Wemby could be taking the ball up. Shohan could be taking the ball up. It wouldn't be surprising if you don't even see Trey start in the lineup and you have Shohan, Vassell, Wemby, et cetera. But it should be really interesting, and that's going to be the talk of the whole season itself. To me, I think it's interesting because if the Spurs really wanted to upgrade at the point guard position, they would have. There's nothing against Trey, but to a lot of people, he's not, a true starting point guard. Hell of a guy, real true energizer off the bench. But is he your future? Likely not. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what they do, as you mentioned.
Ideally, what's your starting 5? If you were Pop making that decision, what does the starting 5 look like?
I would probably put Sohan, Vassell, Keldon, Wemby, and Zach Collins.
So the 1 is
Sohan.
So Sohan at the 1, Vassell at the 2, Keldon at the 3, Wemby at the 4, and Zach at the 5.
Yep. It's a lot of versatile, really good defensive team. I understand that, the knock of it could be if he can't outside shoot. Wemby, you still have to respect his shot. Vassell's only getting better with his shot.
There's a lot of rumors that Zach Collins is improving the 3-point shot this offseason,
That's what I heard too. So
yeah, so I mean that would be an interesting lineup. I don't know. The defensive versatility there is great. I think I would still start Trey though over Jeremy. What my ideal lineup honestly would be Zach Collins on the bench and him coming off. However, I think that yours makes more sense in the fact that you need that guy to come in off the bench and kind of control the offense. And like starting Zach Collins wouldn't come in and control the offense, So having Trey Jones come in and be that kind of second unit facilitator like Manu used to be, and then even having him later on in the games, it doesn't mean he can't end the game the final 6 minutes or anything like that. So that lineup makes sense. I just the versatility defensively would be the really interesting thing there.
See, and if I really had to put Trey back in, the one guy I would take out is Keldon, because Keldon mentioned that he's prepared for any role, and to me, I can see him as a Manu type role, as you're reiterating. But he wouldn't be taking the ball up. The one guy that I'm really looking forward to this season is Malachi.
Yeah.
You've seen Malachi be super aggressive. A lot of people are getting hype on him. Yeah, Malachi take off the ball with Keldon. You throw in, let's say, a Devontae Graham off the bench also. Doug McDermott off the bench. That's a pretty solid bench lineup.
You think about it, they're 10 deep. Like you got the fives. Let's just put 5 starters out there: Wemby, Zach Collins, Devin Vassell, Keldon, and Trey. Let's just do that. Jeremy, Malachi, Julian Champagny. He came on strong in the summer league. You got Doug McDermott. I mean, you got so many guys that are there, and I mean, even the rest of them. Branham, what's his name? Barlow.
Barlow, yeah, Barlow.
Yeah, Barlow played really well in the summer league. I mean, he seems like he's now that kind of back end of the bench kind of guy that can come in and fill some minutes if you need to. So they're so deep in like a young, talented team that the sky is the limit, but the floor is also really low. So
yeah, and you still got, I believe, Charles Bassey, San Antonio's own. You're still looking at what Blake Wesley's going to be. You have Jabari Rice. I mean, Spurs are pretty deep young wise. Not a lot of people realize that, but it's going to take them a while.
What do you think of the game on Monday? We didn't have a podcast on Monday. I was off with my in-laws in town, and then Wednesday's obviously talking about high school. So we haven't really talked about the game on Monday. What did you think you saw from them, and what were like the takeaways from it?
Well, I mean, first off, we'll address the elephant in the room, Wemby. Wemby was super aggressive, and it was really nice to see him, active on defense and offense. You saw that one play where he took the ball, put his head down, and headbutted Chet. Chet kind of replied to him on Twitter about it, about his move, but you saw him take it to the rim and get an and one on Chet. But I liked Wemby's aggressiveness. The ball was moving pretty well with it. Wemby looked way stronger than that one game that he had in the summer league where he was just getting knocked around. He looked kind of just like real, just uneven. So I just think that the ball was really moving well. They did get the loss, but I mean, it's preseason, so we're not really going to, take much about it. But I think, this is a pretty solid team, but I still want to see what's going to look at with Sohan and Keldon. Yeah,
one thing that I didn't like, but I didn't think was too impressive on Monday when it comes to Wemby, and this is only because I'm a nitpicker and I like to be a wet blanket on things, is that the agility wasn't really there. I don't think he was expecting NBA defenders to be able to stay in front of him so well, which came up with some good moves where he was able to counter, turn, and get it to the basket still. But he kind of just like went right hand, head down, right into somebody's chest.
Yeah.
And I keep going away from the mic, but head down right into somebody's chest and got thwarted, and then had to either get it out or do a secondary move or whatever it was. So I think he's going to have to learn that I can't just, dribble with my right hand to the rim and get a dunk like I used to in Euroball. But I'm not doubting that he's going to figure that out, and probably already has. That's why he came out with that secondary move. Maybe it was setting it up all along, but it just seemed, from the outside looking in, that he was trying to get to the rim with his right hand, but they already cut that off, and that's one of the first things they're going to take away. So I also was impressed with his three-point shooting. Like, the dude's got a stroke, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think, one interesting thing is we're going to see him experiment a lot this season. Pop kind of just said that they're going to let him kind of do whatever he wants so they can understand what he's doing. Because Pop doesn't even know what he's going to do, what he's capable of. He's barely touching his surface. And if his surface right now where he's at is, generational, as they're saying, just imagine how much better he's going to be. I mean, once he develops his full post moves, learns how to be a better facilitator, like you said, gets more of a better, handle on itself, it's going to be the sky's the limit for this guy.
I don't know. The ceiling is the roof. So
Yeah.
Shout out MJ. What have you thought so far about how the city's kind of embraced him? Last week at the scrimmage, they had almost 13,000 people, nearly 13,000 people in the Frostbank Center for a silver and black scrimmage just to see the kid and all the rest of the guys in their warm-up gear and playing each other, like not even a real game. And now you have the defending Eastern Conference champions coming in here tonight, and it's just like the sky's the limit when it comes to how they're embracing and how they're how the city is treating him as one of their own already.
Yeah, no, I think it's honestly really beautiful to see what the city's doing itself. I mean, it gives me that type of energy and vibes of when Tim Duncan came in. It brought that energy to the city. It put the Spurs on a map. The Spurs are already on a map, but it's bringing that same energy that Wemby is. You're seeing everyone benefit. And to give you a perspective, my little brother just turned 9, and he's getting into basketball. And he went up to me, and they call me Zach at home. So my name's Rocky, but they call me Zach at home. So he's like, Zach, who's this Wemby
Why?
kid? That's my middle name.
Oh, okay.
So he goes, because it was his birthday recently, he goes, Zach, can you give me a Wemby jersey? I go, you don't know Wemby? He goes, yeah. He goes, I don't know how to say it, but I go by Wemby. And I was like, really? You want one? He goes, yeah. But it was just nice to see because I got him a Wemby jersey for his birthday, but he's going to go through what I went through, what my brothers went through, is growing up with a generational superstar and growing up hopefully for greatness down the road.
Yeah.
But just growing up as we all grew up with Tim Duncan, Manu, Tony. But I just think that energy is always going to be there. And even the Spurs are losing, people are going to show up now. You saw these last couple of seasons, the attendance was way down.
Right.
And, Spurs were probably losing money that we don't know about. I mean, now it's going to go way back up. But I just hope, it doesn't go too high, too fast because he's only 19. This guy, yeah, we want him to be the leader and the face of the franchise right away. But, we got to tone it down. He's not getting a championship this year. We're still probably going to be playing team, maybe, if anything. But
what if he does?
Then it's even better, even better.
We said the sky's the limit. We can't put a roof on it, man. This ain't Chapel Hill. Either way, whatever happens tonight, I mean, like we said, this is the preseason. He debuts in 12 days. It's the 14th right now, or 13th. So he debuts on the 20th
against Luka.
Yeah, against Luka.
I want to see them go against each other.
Getting chills, man. Getting chills. I can't wait to see Luka on the court with Kyrie again and just see what a disaster they were last year together. And the fact that they tanked after getting Kyrie was the funniest thing in the entire world. I don't know about how you feel about Kyrie. Just on a small aside, I hate Kyrie. I just hate him.
As a person,
well, I mean, as a person, I don't like him as a player. I think he's kind of a selfish player.
He is, he is.
I just don't like him. I've never met Kyrie a day in my life. I have no reference as to what he is actually like one-on-one, as an interview, as a person, as I can just judge what I see on the court, what I see in the media, what I see him do on social. He just kind of seems like a douchebag.
No, exactly he does, but watching him is just crazy what he does.
Yeah, in a one-on-one game.
Yeah, well, I mean, just in general, just seeing what he does. I mean, I've seen him firsthand destroy the Spurs, when he dropped, I believe, 58 in 1 year when he was with the Cavs, I believe. Either the Cavs or the Celtics, I forget. I think it was the Celtics, actually. But as a player, it's just like, oh, my God, what is this guy doing? But as a person, it's just like, nah, you got to tone it down.
Kyrie is a testament as to what one good series and one good year can get you. He didn't play any college ball at Duke, pretty much. He got hurt I think it was his third or fourth game at Duke. Still ended up being one of the top picks. I think it was actually the first pick in the draft by the Cavs. Then he sucks until LeBron gets there. They finally go on. They come back from 3-1 down. He hits the game-winning shot in Game 7. And then everyone's like, oh, he's so good. And then LeBron left again, and then he left, and then he sucked in Brooklyn, and then he sucks now. He just sucks. He sucked in with the Celtics. Yeah. He's just horrible. Well, he's horrible as a teammate, and he never wins now.
Yeah.
However, he's a good one-on-one player. I would never want to play him in one-on-one.
Oh, 100%.
I would get my ass kicked. But still, it's just he seems like a douche. Anyway, that was just a quick tangent. I feel like I needed to get that off my chest. Let's get to some baseball real quick. So the Rangers and the Astros are going to be playing yet again for this season, but with a lot more on the line. They're both going to the ALCS. The Rangers are 5-0 this postseason, sweeping the Rays, who had the second best record in the AL, and sweeping the Orioles, who had the best record in the AL. RIP to the AL East, by the way. 7-0 is what they got swept as a whole. Like, Toronto didn't win a game, Tampa didn't win a game, the Orioles didn't win a game. So the Rangers red hot right now and might get Max Scherzer back.
Yeah.
And then you have the Astros, who are just, plodding along as they do, just trying to cap off another championship run with the same group of idiots that people like, or that people don't like for some reason. I don't know. That might have something to do with that. But the anticipation of this series is killing me already. I wanted to get to Sunday.
I do too. I mean, as I kind of told you in the before we started, I'm more of a guy that watches baseball more intensely once October hits. I'll admit that. I just don't have time to watch the whole season.
You don't want to watch 162 games?
No, I mean, but as a disclosure to everyone listening, I don't have a team. I just enjoy watching baseball. But if you had to ask me my prediction, I got Astros in 7.
So when Chuck and I did the our predictions for the postseason, I had the Astros going to the World Series, and I don't remember if I had them winning the World Series. I had them against the Braves, though, so obviously I was wrong. I was halfway wrong already, but I think that the Astros are going to prove their mettle once again. I mean, they're 9-13 or 9-4 their last 13. They're 9-4 against the Rangers in their last 13 games. The last series that they had against the Rangers, they might as well have just curb stomped them outside and just called it a day. I think they scored like 13, 14, and 12 or something like that in a 3-game series. They went for like 42 runs in 3 games. It was something just insane. And that's the lasting image in my head, is the Astros proving their championship ability, proving that they are that championship team. They have the prestige, they have the experience, they have that intangible quality that the Rangers frankly don't have. And the Rangers don't have anybody really on their team that has that outside of Nathan Eovaldi. I do that all the time. Nathan Eovaldi, Nasty Nate won the Red Sox a championship, so I'm never going to dislike Nathan, but Max Scherzer, we'll see what he has. He could be a big boost for them. Their bullpen is one of the worst in the entire league.
That's what I heard.
And mind you, they were really good against the Orioles. The Orioles didn't have any experience either, though. And the Rangers are red hot right now. They are scalding hot right now, and they have a deep lineup that can hit from anywhere. Any position can get you a homer. Any position can get you a run. Any position can steal a base. But it's their pitching that's really going to be questionable. If Jordan Montgomery and Nathan Eovaldi pitch like they did in the DS, they win. Easy.
Yeah, no,
if Max Scherzer comes back, gives them 5 solid innings, and maybe can give them another start in Game 6, fine, they win
for sure.
But I just don't know if they can.
No, and I wouldn't be surprised if they take on Game 1 and the Astros kind of get like a wake up call. But like you said, the Astros have been here. They know what it's like. They know what it takes, and the Rangers are coming in. And I saw a thing on Twitter that this game matchup is bigger than what next year's matchup is going to be. It was A&M Texas. It has more historical, just significance to it. It's a bigger matchup, excitement wise. And I have to agree. I mean, it's going to be a big game for them. It's a Lone Star showdown, but I'm going to go Astros in 7 still.
I'm going to say Astros in 6. I'm going to say Astros in 6. I think, I just think that the experience of them is too much. Between Altuve, between Yordan Alvarez, who's just smacking the cover off the ball right now. Dude is just unleashing. Jeremy Pena and Justin Verlander and all the experience that they have. Framber Valdez gets better in the postseason. Who was it? I can't remember. Christian Javier. He gets better in the postseason as well. Jose Urquidy, gets better in the postseason. He did. In the series against the Twins. Presley is one of the best closers in the game, and he keeps proving it over and over. He did this last year. At this point, I think it's a collision course for a repeat of last year between the Astros and the Phillies.
No, exactly. And, kind of the same with baseball. I wanted to bring up your D-backs. How surprised were you them beating the Dodgers?
All right, so everyone who listens knows I'm a Red Sox fan, but I lived in Phoenix for a couple of years. I have a lot of friends in Phoenix. I have a couple of friends who work for the D-backs, so I root for them. They're kind of my NL team.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap, I love them, man. What a lovable group of idiots. Like,
Yeah.
Torey Lovello, former Red Sox pitching coach, I believe, or hitting coach. I loved Torey when he was with the Sox, and I love him now with the D-backs. When I was in school, Torey was still there, and so we covered spring training for the D-backs, and Torey's just one of the nicest guys. Like he would give you the shirt off his back, and all he wants to do is win, and he wants to see his guys be successful. And I honestly, hats off to the D-backs organization for sticking with him, because they had a couple of lean years there, and they could have easily gotten rid of Torey and said, you know what, you're not our manager, we're going to go in a different direction. But they stuck with him, and because they stuck with him, he stuck with them and invested his time, his effort, his energy, everything into that lineup, into that bullpen, into that rotation. And you see it paying off now. It's a group that just believes in each other. And between Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte, who they easily could have gotten rid of at the trade deadline. Ketel Marte is really good. They could have gotten rid of him, could have gotten rid of Nick Ahmed. They could have gotten rid of Zach Gallen and just sold and tried to sell high on all their guys. They didn't do it. And it's really great to see that they knocked off the Dodgers. Plus, screw all of my friends back in Southern California who are Dodgers fans. Justin, Brian, I'm talking to you. It was just really, really great to see the D-backs do that, even if they lose to the Phillies, which I expect them to. I mean, the Phillies are a wagon, and but seeing the D-backs do that was really, really impressive and really cool to see.
Yeah, no, I was super surprised by it, and I saw what Mookie said. He sounded pretty upset, but just goes to show you, man, you can't buy championships like the Dodgers and Yankees do half the time. But I was really proud of the D-backs for what they did.
It's also not on the rundown, but since we are mentioning the Dodgers, the only World Series they won was the COVID shortened season. They're historically a great franchise. And with under Dave Roberts, who is also a Red Sox guy, he's made the steal in Game 4 that helped them come back against the Yankees in 03-04, or excuse me, 04. Sorry, Mike McCarthy just said that he expects Cavante Turpin to practice today. Yes. I think that the Dodgers are probably the most disappointing franchise in sports, as relative to their expectations. Like, you put an asterisk next to that championship. I do, at least. A championship's a championship unless it's in a COVID shortened season, when you take a 162 game season down to 60 games, and you don't really have to find out who the best team is, and you can get hot for 2 months, and then there you go, you're a champion. So the only championship they've won since 1985. 85. Anyway, is almost 30 years, is the COVID shortened season. And I just think that the Dodgers are one of the most disappointing teams in baseball and probably in all of sports.
Not the Cowboys?
Well,
or are they hand in hand?
One of. Okay. The Cowboys are historically disappointing too, but the Cowboys aren't winning. The Cowboys aren't getting to like ALCSs and Super Bowls every year. Or excuse me, they're not getting to championship games and Super Bowls every year. The thing with the Cowboys is that we are expecting them to get to the championship game, and they never do. Or we're expecting them to get to the Super Bowl, and they never do.
Yeah.
The thing with the Dodgers is that they get there, and they just can't frickin' win.
Yeah.
And it'd be like the Cowboys going 14-2 or 14-3 in a given season, and then losing in the first round in like a wild card round. That's what it would be like. Like, can you imagine if this team ends up running the table? They're 3-2 right now. They lose one more game to whoever. Let's say they lose to the Chargers, and then they run the table the rest of the way, and they lose in the first round of the playoffs. The sky would fall on Cowboys Nation. That's what it's like being a Dodgers fan for the last 5-6 years, because they run the table. They're the most expensive team. They have a great farm system. They're a well-run organization, and then the players crap themselves when they get to the postseason, especially one of the best pitchers of our generation in Clayton Kershaw. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, you got valid points there. I mean,
and I love Mookie. Like, I'm so sad that the Red Sox traded Mookie and all that stuff, but damn, dude, like that, what a disappointing franchise that is to get swept by your division rival in the division series when you won 16 more games than them in the regular season. 16. I think the Dodgers won 100 games even. The Diamondbacks have 84.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
That's why you love October baseball, man.
Gotta love October baseball. Also, I saw coming in, if the Rangers do get to the World Series, they will have home field advantage. And they are the lowest seed, and they were the lowest seed in the AL. So they have a better record than the D-backs. So they'll get it over the D-backs. And if the Phillies get there and the Rangers get there, the Rangers would get home field, even though they have the same record, because they played each other in the regular season in the first series of the season.
Oh, really? Gotcha.
So the Rangers would get home field advantage because of 3 games that they won 6 months ago. I love baseball.
Yeah, no, you have to. You have to love it. I mean, I got to get more into it. I guess I got to watch more.
How can you not be romantic about baseball? All right, let's get to UTSA UAB. UTSA playing their first ever AAC home game in the Alamo Dome tomorrow night, 7:00 against University of Alabama Birmingham. They played pretty well against Temple. I thought Frank played a lot better. I was happy that Frank was able to get out there and play. Threw for 338 and 3 touchdowns. Really, really worried about their offensive line, though.
Yeah. No.
It is a mash unit up there.
No, exactly. And you worry about that and you factor in Frank's health. I mean, you're just asking for Frank to, risk getting another injury, knock on wood. But, I mean, you do really got to protect Frank. He can only do so much. He has only so much time to get rid of the ball. And if you have no offensive line, it's just going to be very bad for the conference.
Yeah, I mean, this is a matchup that we see almost every year because these two guys were in Conference USA together, but it's always a great match. It's always a great game.
Yes.
Like last year was double overtime. The Runners ended up winning 44-38. 2 years ago it was I think this was at the Alamo Dome. It was 34-31. I mean, they just play great games every single year, and I don't know how it's going to go now because UAB is a different team with Trent Dilfer being the coach now. So I don't know how this one's going to go. I really don't.
I think it's going to be a close game. I mean, you have San Antonio's own Jacob Zeno, going against UTSA, so he's coming in for a homecoming in a sense. But I mean, it's going to be a real close game. They're both pretty excited for the first conference, or second conference game, excuse me. But I'm sure UTSA is excited for their first conference game at home in the AAC. Hopefully it gets packed as the games in the past, but I mean, it may be, maybe not. It is UAB. You're not playing an exciting team like in the past how they played.
It's also the Hispanic Heritage game, so
yeah.
I think that
I hope it gets packed.
I think they'll have a good 35,000 people there. It's a night game on a Saturday night, like that. It's prime time for everybody. It's not like it's at noon or anything like that. Like might be some drunk ass fans there. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I used to go to the 7 o'clock games. Very tough,
dude. People are gonna be sloshed by 7 o'clock.
Yeah, those games are very murky for me when I think about.
Yeah, you remember any of those?
Somewhat. I mean, yeah, college's a fun time.
You mean like 2 weekends ago?
Nah.
What's crazy is that this game, I just looked at the spread. I would have put this spread at like 2.5 for UTSA. They're favored by almost 10.
Damn.
They're favored by 9.5 points in this game. That surprised me a lot.
I mean, Jeff Taylor has those boys ready. I feel like they're turning a little bit of a corner. They did have some hiccups along the way before they started conference play, but I mean, it's Traylor, and I guess Vegas knows what Traylor's known to do, how historically good they are in conference. So I'm not too surprised, but I probably would have had it in the middle, around 5. I didn't think it would be that high necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, they have a tough schedule coming up, too. They got UAB this week, then Florida Atlantic. I expect them to win both of those games.
Yeah.
I do expect them to win this weekend against UAB. First of all, Trent Dilfer is a boob. Like, what? Did you see him a couple of weeks ago chewing the head off of his coaches for a decision that they made? You're an idiot if you do that on the sideline, out in the public, out in the open to your assistant coaches.
Yeah.
You're just annihilating them, freaking out on the sideline. There is no reason on God's green earth to do that. It's to anybody, the opposing coaches, to your coaches, to your players, to their players, to the referees. You have zero reason to do that and to go off on national TV and just annihilate people for no reason. Like you're an idiot. You're a boob. I hope you lose every game that in front of you. Like what a moron.
No, I have to agree. I mean, it gives us a bad perception of what the public's going to see of how he treats his coaches and how he treats them. And I imagine the players see that too, and so those players are going to lose some respect for Coach Dilfer itself, and maybe even their position coaches itself. They see Dilfer not respecting him, so why should I respect them as well?
Exactly. I mean, if a first year head coach, you're coming from I think he was coming from the high school ranks. Like
yeah, he was. Yeah,
you look like a freaking idiot, man.
He needs to go back to ESPN and do Dilfer dimes.
He needs to go to like a meditation session or something. Like calm down. The remaining schedule for UTSA right now, obviously they're 2-3. They got UAB tomorrow. I think we both think they win that game. I don't think they cover. I think it's going to be a close game.
It's always historically.
It's always close.
It's going to be somehow close. Yeah.
Yeah. So then they go to Florida Atlantic, which I think they'll win.
They should win. Florida Atlantic lost their starting quarterback, former Texas quarterback Casey Thompson.
Yeah. East Carolina at home, probably a win, I would guess, but you never know. North Texas is always a tough match.
Those North Texas games, man. Just look at Twitter. I'm sure you've seen it. UTSA North Texas Twitter when it's the week. It's always
it's
tough
wild.
match.
It's wild. I think they run the table until November 24th. They play Tulane.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough game. But that North Texas game is dangerous. But UTSA likely wants to get revenge because they were the ones that gave UTSA their first loss last year. It was a horrible game in the rain. So
there's a couple of trap games on there. I think that there's going to be a lot of close games, but there always is with UTSA. Like UTSA is just like, how close can we make this without losing the game? That's just kind of their style.
They stress me out more than UT.
Stress you out more than UT? You mean the team that lost last week?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What was the Garza household like on that day?
Very disappointed. I mean, my dad's kind of more of a casual UT fan, but I mean, he texted me right away. He was like, "I'm so sorry," and I was just like, ... and I was like, "I'm gonna be boarding my flight, very sad." But I saw A&M lose to Alabama, so I was very happy. So
you guys just root against A&M?
I hate A&M. My mom likes it, but she just likes the color maroon, and she likes wearing A&M stuff just to make me mad. And so, but
that's the worst.
Yeah, and so, but I love her, but.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I mean, she's okay sometimes. So no, I'm kidding. But no, he just texted me, "I'm so sorry." And then my brother was the one clowning me on the plane. He's like, "Remember when UT lost?" And I was like, "Just be quiet, man."
Hey, so speaking of A&M, tomorrow against Tennessee.
That's an L.
That's an L.
That's an L. That's an. I will bet money that's an L.
I think A&M wins that game.
No, that's an L. They're playing in Knoxville. That's an L. I think they're playing in Knoxville.
Yeah, but Tennessee's not that good.
A&M just messes up. They shoot themselves in the foot just like UT all the time. I mean, Max Johnson's not a bad quarterback, but I mean, it's going to come down to their defense. Tennessee is very disappointed this season. They were a super hyped up playoff. Joe Milton was a Heisman favorite or candidate, but they was disappointed. But it's just Tennessee, man. I mean, Tennessee's favored, I think, by 3.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, so I mean, it's SEC though.
3. The over/under I think is about 55.
Yeah,
I think the A&M could pull off that upset.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I knew they weren't going to beat Bama. I mean,
I thought they were going to be.
Bama should have won by way more.
If A&M had Connor Wegman, they would have won that game.
Yeah, I can attest to that.
Yeah, I mean, and if Jimbo Fisher doesn't gets his head out of his ass and goes for it on 4th and 1 from your 1 yard line, maybe they win that game.
See, the thing
but they at least cover.
No, the thing that irritated me though was A&M fans after UT had won. They were like, "This is the worst Alabama team. This is not." And I understand Alabama. Their quarterback situation still kind of looked shaky, but I was like, why would they look bad? I do not feel bad for Alabama, who has a plethora of 5 stars. You have the best coach ever, arguably. It's like, no, like they still have a solid defense, and it showed against A&M.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're in for another good weekend of college football. I mean, Longhorns are licking their wounds a little bit. They're going to come back stronger next week. So I still think that UT is on a collision course for Oklahoma rematch in the Big 12 title game. A&M needs to win this to even have a chance at winning the West, because they still need Bama to slip up one more time. But I think A&M wins at Tennessee. I think UTSA wins at UAB, and I think that the Astros win their series in 6. Even though I think the Rangers win game 1.
So who are you openly rooting for though on Sunday? Are you rooting
On
for
Sunday?
Rangers or Astros? Who's gonna make you happier?
Honestly, as a Fox affiliate here, I'm rooting for a 7-game series.
Yeah.
Because the more games there are, the more games we get to go to, the more games we get to cover.
Yes.
I'm happy either way. And the best part about all of it is that it guarantees that we have a Texas team in the World Series, which means that Zach and Jack are going to be traveling to that, and I'll be covering here, and it'll be just like a fun month. October baseball, as a sportscaster, as a sports broadcaster, and as a sports reporter and anchor, it's always better when some of your teams are in it, because then you get to talk about them more. Like, I'm not going to, here in San Antonio, I'm not going to talk about a Phillies, Red Sox World Series, just to pull 2 names out of a hat. Or the Phillies Rays, if it was the Rays. Like, we're not going to talk about that very much. We're going to show 30 seconds of highlights and go. But now at least we get to go more in depth. We get to pull Bochy sound and Josh Young, who's the San Antonio kid on the Rangers. We get to follow him around, talk to his parents, Mary and Jeff, all the time. We get to talk to Josh. Like, it's just more fun that way. When you have somebody to cover. So, but Rocky, thank you for stepping in today.
Of course.
Pinch hitting for us. Knocked it out of the park.
Of course.
At least a 2-run double.
Yeah, at least, you know, I'll be humble. 2-run double.
2-run double. All right, cool. We'll knock you in next time. That's all we got for you today. What a weekend we got going for Texas sports, as always, in October. Love October. Baseball, basketball, football, college football, hockey just got started. Not a big hockey guy, but
Not either, no.
I just know that my Sharks suck. Don, Chuck, and I will be back on Monday to recap the weekend, preview the Cowboys Monday Night Football game for you with Kellen Moore against the Chargers. You're not going to be here on Monday. Who wins?
Cowboys barely.
Really?
I mean, you're playing an arguably way better quarterback than the way you just saw in Brock Purdy. I mean, Kellen Moore's coming out for revenge, but I think Cowboys pull it back, and everyone gets on the hype train again. And then after the next 2 games, there's a goal.
Yeah, I think just to be honest, I'm on the Chargers +2, so I think it's going to be either a Chargers win or it's a 2-point win, or it's a less than 2 is all I'm hoping for.
Austin Eckler comes back, but yay, my fantasy team.
Austin Eckler for most of my fantasy teams. I think I got him on 3 of them, so I'm on way too many fantasy teams.
Same.
Remember, you can get this podcast wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Please download, rate, review, subscribe, give us some feedback. We will see you right back here on Monday. Well, he won't, but I will. I'll see you right back here on. I mean, you can come if you want.
I'll step in.
All right. See you back here on Monday on the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. Everyone have a good weekend, and go Devils.